It looks like video game journalists are going to go broke or broker. According to Kotaku, Valnet, which owns a good portion of video game and pop culture websites, are now only going to be paying people by click. They're not going to be paying them by the article.
Well, this isn't surprising because we talked before about some of the shady stuff they were doing with the writers, which led to Valnet trying to send a lawyer after us, by the way.
Yes, Valnet threatened us last year because we covered an article that the Wrap put out talking about their business practices. Again, we covered an article that the Wrap wrote, and that was enough to get a threat from Valnet's legal team, which apparently dissipated because we haven't heard anything. We ignored it, and we haven't heard anything else about it. But now Kotaku is saying that things have gone from bad to worse. They used to pay their writers very, very low per article, and now they're saying they're not going to get paid at all unless they bring in a certain amount of traffic.
Yeah, according to what they've seen in Slack and according to what Kotaku's seen in some contracts, because I guess this author used to work there.
Yeah, and do I believe it? Yeah. I mean, I do.
My personal opinion
is this is probably true based on people we've talked to. And look, Valnet went around and they bought up all these nerd sites, all these pop culture sites. And if you try to compete with them, if you're a niche site, there's some high strangeness around your traffic. I'm just saying, it would not surprise me at all if there were some behind the scenes dealings. Maybe.
I don't know about that, but I can say that it's weird that other people are getting hit, but their sites still get found. But this points to the fact that what we're telling you is Google's destroying the internet, and it's becoming so bad that even Valnet's having to go to a place that allegedly that they are like, we can't pay you unless you get clicks.
Yeah, and who the hell is going to work for that? I mean, who's going to work for that? I mean, granted, if you're a site owner,
let's use AI. I don't understand what honestly, knowing how skeezy they are, I'm surprised they haven't done that yet.
Well, no, I think they are, because there were people that were complaining about CBR only paying a couple dollars per article, and then they were complaining that they were going to have to become bot farmers. So that was the whole thing. That was last year. And then all the stuff came out about the working conditions. But yeah, Google AI search, and we're going to talk about this because this is kind of the unified theory of everything here. Google AI search is destroying this whole business model. In fact, Vox Media just sold a bunch of its stuff to one of the Murdochs, Murdoch Jr., Fox News Murdochs. Yeah. Murdoch Jr. just bought Vox. So a lot of those people are going to be like, oh my God, we've got a Murdoch, running Vox. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But yeah, it's bad, and it's going to get worse. And, I mean, we watched our sites, and we've had sites for years, and we just watched the traffic take a hit and then another hit, and then it's almost non-existent now because of the situation with Google AI search snippets. And now they're rolling it out across the board as of this week. This is what they call the 0 point or whatever, Google Zero, where there is no longer any organic traffic or any meaningful organic traffic going to websites because Google wants you staying on their search page where they can monetize you.
Mm-hmm. And they get to keep all the money.
They get to keep all the money.
They get to scrape everybody else to keep all the money.
Yeah, and basically these companies, and I don't know if Valnet made a deal with them or not. I know Reddit made a deal with them. They're effectively buying themselves time, because eventually, it's going to, the Google Reaper, the Grim Reaper of Google, is going to come for them too. But they can make some money on the way out, and all these sites are going to fold before it's all said and done. I think a handful maybe of the bigger brands will hang in there a little bit longer, but I think most of these websites are going to fold.
Well, I did an AI search. Does it have a deal? It does not have an exclusive corporate partnership or overarching deal, but it operates as a major Google publisher partner.
Yeah, so Valnet.
So that's why they're still getting found when everybody else isn't.
Right. So these bigger publishers, and again, it's volume. These bigger publishers can hang in there longer. But yeah, Valnet went around and bought out like all the nerd sites, the Comic Book Resources, Collider. We'll talk about some of the sites. I think they either shut down or consolidated or got rid of. Kotaku was actually owned by, I think it was IO Media or something. I don't know. I forget. It was whatever was Gawker. I think it was Kotaku too. I can't keep track. They're all basically the same site, right? But Kotaku, I've noticed lately, since they have new ownership, they've actually seemed to pivot back to, a little more centered than they used to be. It used to be that every other article was the bigots are mad, the bigots are mad. And there are occasional articles like that, depending on the writer, but they have gone back to just kind of straight up video game news.
It was Geo Media.
GeoMedia, that's right.
It was Keliops or something now. It's a Swiss company.
No idea. But they're competitors. So keep that in mind too. They are direct competitors of Valnet, but Valnet has been in trouble so many times. So let's talk about this. And I don't know if this is going to get us an email either, but we didn't take. Wah. It's like, trust me, pal, we're lawyered up. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you'll get woohoo if you do. Woohoo. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And if you'd like more of us, you can go out to more.clownfishtv.com. That's moreclownfishtv.com for more podcasts and episodes you will not find on YouTube, exclusive content. Thank you to the Reefers for making this possible.
Thank you.
So yeah, just to walk it back a little bit, Valnet did threaten us with legal action last year. It turned out that nothing happened, but they did get other YouTubers to take their critical videos down.
We didn't take ours down.
No, we didn't, because we had no legal reason to do it. It was commentary on a rap article. We were just commenting on what the rap was saying. And, we did not create any of those rumors or allegations, and we were completely covered. And same with this. This is Kotaku. Kotaku is making these allegations, not us. We're just commenting on the Kotaku article, but we have had run-ins with these people too. So this is coming from Kotaku. One of the worst companies in games media reveals new plan to only pay writers per click. They said editors and writers at the Valnet-owned site The Gamer, so The Gamer is still owned by Valnet, will now reportedly not be paid for their work if their articles do not accrue enough views.
And I'm assuming, again, this is an assumption on my part. If The Gamer's doing it, then other of their sites are probably also doing it. But I can't speak to that, just what they say here.
I mean, the truth of the matter is, and this is coming from, someone who had to lay off a bunch of writers a year or two ago when we saw things were getting really bad and there was we weren't able to course correct. There's no way to course correct because you're fighting with Google. You have to make tens of thousands of views to even pay. Even if you're paying somebody a relatively low rate for an article, you still have to get tens of thousands of views on that article to pay for itself. To get to pay for itself. And I think a lot of freelancers, unfortunately, don't realize that, like how much you actually have to get to break even.
It's worse now.
And it's 100 times worse now than it was back then, right? So, they said they own Polygon, Game Rant, OpenCritic, and Collider. They own Comic Book Resources, CBR, which I didn't call Comic Book Resources anymore because nobody gives a shit about comic books. They said over a dozen more gaming, technology, and lifestyle websites, is known for paying its freelance writers well, but new pay per session contracts issued to writers and editors at The Gamer on May 21st threaten to break new ground when it comes to click mill style exploitation. Okay, so according to details outlined in The Gamer's Slack, these new terms mandated by Valnet management would reward top performing articles. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. A lot of these websites stopped doing view bonuses because it used to be that it was like, okay, we give you a base. Well, we ran into this problem too. Give you a base pay. And then if your articles really bring it and they make a lot of ad revenue, you get to share in that ad revenue. A lot of outlets were doing that, but then they stopped doing it because it was being abused.
It's not that hard to buy traffic and look, I got all these views.
And that was actually happening. I remember hearing about that a lot of these pop culture sites, that they were accusing their writers of buying traffic to get view bonuses. And I can tell you as a publisher, it really isn't that hard to game the system. But there are ways of telling very easily if things are being
I know
gamed.
them. I'm fast. I can pick it up immediately.
Yeah,
because I've been tracking this stuff forever. If you watch other videos, I track numbers, so I know what to look for. But something that stuck with me is they're saying that they're going to go to the click mill style exploitation, which means if you guys are sick to death of the whole clickbait bullshit, it's going to get 100 million times
it's gonna get worse
because now they only get paid if they put out clickbait. So it's going to be more. It's going to be less about the real news and more about clickbait bullshit because the only way they're going to get paid is if they put the clickbait bullshit up.
And I'm already seeing this like with maybe not Collider so much, but comic book resources, where they deliberately mislead you with the title. Like, oh my God, guys, did you hear the latest thing? Like, this person's not coming back for this movie. And here it was like 2-year-old news, but they just
Or it's
did
like a
new
person that no one cares about. They put a picture of another actor up, and then when you read it, it's about somebody else completely.
Yeah, they're doing that. Now, here's what's going to happen. Like, supposedly they're preferred Google partners, but eventually Google is going to be like, you are deliberately misleading people for clicks. We're going to put the kibosh on that. And I'm sorry, Valnet will get eaten last, but they're still going to get eaten by the Google AI machine. It's just, it is what it is. It is not a viable business model anymore to have a niche website that is bankrolled by advertising. It's not, last week was like the kill shot when they rolled this new thing out, and people were already seeing massive traffic drops just since last week. And it has been dropping year over year over year. So this is basically the end stage, I think, of Valnet.
And it was end stage of the internet. And it's like people really, I mean, the fact that this is even happening is just mind blowing. It's like they should not, under normal circumstances, Google would not be allowed to do the shit they're doing. But I think that there's so many people that, owe them favors one way or another. So many campaigns, in my opinion, that maybe got help that, no one's going to touch it.
So they said, Kotaku learned based on the details outlined in the newly issued contracts, the proposed performance structure would also result in writers not being paid at all if their articles do not exceed a minimum threshold of views. So basically, if the article doesn't pay for itself and it takes thousands of views to pay for itself, that's assuming people don't have ad blockers, then they're not going to get paid at all. So you're basically writing for these websites, writing for a chance to win a couple of bucks. It's like, who the hell is going to take that? Well, the thing is, okay, so this is sort of the unified theory of everything I have when it comes to why has pop culture journalism fallen so far off a cliff. It's because they get what they can afford. They get, same with comics. Like the reason that you don't have the people that are the same caliber of artist or writer of, from 10, 15 years ago is Marvel and DC are not paying the page rates they used to.
Well, they also chased off the good people.
And they chased off the good people. Yeah, they were problematic.
Cancellation campaigns and stuff, yeah.
Right. So the good writers were problematic. The good artists were problematic. In this case, too, it's like what journalist in their right mind, what actual journalist in their right mind would work for free with maybe possibly a chance to get paid, right? Except for like the Rachel Leichmans of the world. That's what you're going to get. The activists who just want the megaphone. And that will show you what the motivation is, really, because I know people are like, oh, grifters, they just want paid. I'm like, yeah, well, if you're a professional, you're going to want paid. If you're just an activist who wants a platform, you'll do it for free just because you want to piss people off.
Yeah. So if you thought the clickbait was bad before and the ridiculous, like activist stuff was, crap before, just grab your butts because there's a lot more coming.
So they brought up the Wrap article from 2025 where they basically exposed the quote unquote sweatshop conditions, and that's what got us in trouble with them. They said, despite the rise of Valnet's reach and prominence, you'd be hard pressed to find a positive word about the company from those who've worked in its newsrooms.
I've never heard anything good from anybody who's associated with Valnet.
Valnet has previously been accused of copyright striking YouTube videos that include negative statements about and blacklisting writers who complain about how little they're paid. In the case of the YouTube videos, they basically sent, as I understand it, they sent threats to other channels that were covering the Valnet situation. And because they were smaller channels, they took their videos down because they were kind of shitting.
Yeah, I don't think there was copyright strike. I think it was more of just a threat. Well, we also got one, but we left it.
We got one, but I'm like, you know what? Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. We've dealt with bigger fish than you. Do it. One of those writers is Lex Luddy, the editor-in-chief of Start Menu and a former junior editor at The Gamer, who stated earlier today in a post on Blue Sky that Permalance staff at the site were recently issued new contracts. The revised agreement requires
probably those who are like, they're freelance, but they have like a permanent gig there.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Well, I guess that was kind of like what we had, because we had people, it was understood that as long as we could afford to pay you, we would keep you on as freelance. And yes, that's one thing I can say. We paid all of our writers, and I don't think anybody could ever complain that we didn't pay our writers. We always did.
We did give bonuses. And
we did give bonuses,
holiday
and we got
bonuses
burnt. We got burnt on the view bonuses, which is why we stopped doing that.
From one person.
One particular person burnt us hard, and then we stopped doing it. So it basically punished everybody else because of that. But when it was clear that we could not afford to pay people anymore, that's when we pulled the plug on the freelancers, because basically the ad revenue shriveled up to a place where, and it was Google thing, because we had websites that were fine for like 10, 15 years, consistent every month. And when it was very obvious that Google was destroying the internet and the revenue just kept shrinking and shrinking, it's like, yeah, we got to cut people loose. And we hated to do it. We had some really good people work for us, but it is what it is. But we always pay people. So we were actually better off than Valnet, I guess. They said the revised agreements require a minimum article viewership threshold for payment, and some staff at the site are accusing these new contracts of being a form of soft layoffs. Yeah, because a lot of people aren't going to work.
But the flip side is, I mean, not to defend Valnet, but the flip side is, if you can't afford to pay people because you're not getting money, what are you supposed to do? And I mean, and ironically, in the thing that we got slapped with they tried to hit us with a threat, we actually defended them in that video too. But as far as being the publisher, you can't just pay people because they've been there a while, and that because they're the other goodness of your heart. You can to a point, but if you want to stay viable, you want to stay afloat as long as possible, you cannot do it. So I don't think it's right to not pay anybody anything. I think that's crap. That being said, I also kind of get why, because if it doesn't bring views and they're perpetually not bringing the views, you can't just keep paying them just because they've been there for like 10 years.
Yeah, it's kind of like, what's going on in entertainment right now too, where it's like you can only subsidize for so long. Eventually stuff has to at least break even. Even if you're at break even, that's fine. That's sustainable. But if you're digging yourself a deeper hole month after month, paying for articles that do not bring any revenue to the company, you cannot do that, or you will go out of business.
Right. So, I mean, and in their defense, though, I don't think this is right. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying the flip side is, as somebody who's been a publisher, Google's all fucked up. I'm just going to tell you straight up.
Yeah,
they totally screwed the internet up. There is no money in it. It is everything that was there is gone. They're keeping it, and the bigger publishers, they have to do this. It's got to be pretty bad.
Yeah, because my understanding was, at least in the pop culture space, Valnet was still breaking even because they bought up everybody pretty much, and then they were kind of choking out all the other websites, all the niche websites. But if they're having to resort to this, things are really effing bad. They're really effing bad. I think
advertisers, besides the fact that Google's keeping everybody, I think the advertisers are going, which is also Google, to YouTube and to like direct to streaming and things like that, instead of going to the websites, because more people they're going to find them on social media as opposed to websites so much now.
Yeah. So they said, according to the Post, new contracts would see pay based solely on viewership, with a minimum amount of clicks needed before any pay was granted. Now, if we did that on our websites, because we actually guaranteed, minimum, and I wish it could have been more, because some of our writers worked really hard on their articles, but like we could only afford what we could afford, right? But if we did that, people would be like, what a bunch of scammers. Like, they're just like cheaping out on people, and Clownfish TV are a bunch of scammers. But I'm like, no, we always paid our people. Everybody was settled up before we laid them off. And we gave them as much heads up as we could. Just been like, look, if next month looks like this month, I don't know what's going to happen. Just FYI. It said details of the contracts were not flagged to anyone on the gamer management before being sent out. After a day-long revolt on the company's Slack, many of the Permalance staff believe the issuing of these contracts are a form of soft layoffs. I agree with that.
They're trying to make you quit and say you're not going to do it.
Okay, so wow. Okay, so yeah, they're not paying very much. Kotaku was able to view a copy of the contracts. This is Kotaku saying it, not us. Kotaku was able to view a copy of the newly outlined contracts issued to staff in the Gamers official Slack. The new and exciting performance-based bonus system was revealed to staff on May 21st, but immediately went into effect the next day on May 22nd. So they had like a day to get used to the idea. Writers will now earn $5 per 1,000 sessions. Clicks, and editors will earn $3 per 1,000 sessions. Okay, I want to stop right there. A session is not the same as a page view. The way they're wording it is very interesting. because a session could be multiple page views. It could be like, oh, okay, yeah, your article got 10,000 page views, but it was only 500 sessions. So I want to be
clicks. So I didn't know.
Well, that's how they're interpreting it. I'm telling you, if they're wording it as being a Google guy, if they're viewing it as session, or they're telling you sessions, they're going to F you over even more, because it's not going to be page views. It's going to be sessions, and sessions are different. When you look at Google Analytics, your sessions are going to be considerably lower than your page views, because that is how many individual people. So you're only getting $5 per 1,000 sessions, which would be 1,000 individual people viewed your articles.
So what you're saying is, if someone clicked on the website and they read multiple articles,
yes,
it's only one session, even
yes,
though they read multiple articles.
Yes.
So how do you determine whoever they went on the article first is going to be the one who gets that session, credit? Because
this is going to be the, what do they call it, the undoable task, the unachievable goal. What companies do is they basically set it up so it's like, oh yeah, we'll do this thing for you. It's like the Pepsi points with the jet. Like, oh, nobody's ever going to do that. So what they're basically doing is making it so it's very hard to get paid at all, because they're going to, like, and this has only happened a couple of days, and I'm telling you, these people are not, since they're not on the back end of it, they're journalists and they're not dealing with the website of it. The fact that they think sessions or page views is telling me they don't fully understand what's being said here, and they're going to keep writing and writing and writing, thinking, oh, I got
1,000 page views would not be bad.
No, 1,000 page views would be relatively easy. Even some of our worst performing articles on our sites, 1,000 page views, very easy. 1,000 sessions though, that's a whole nother ball of wax. And yeah, who do you attribute? Because if they came in for one article from one person, they just happened to read yours because it was next up, or they saw it on the sidebar or whatever, who do you give that to?
Probably the person who brought it in.
Right. So it's yeah. This is gonna get really.
It gets better though.
Sticky.
Read the next part.
Okay, so writers will earn $5 per 1,000 sessions, and editors will earn $3 per 1,000 sessions. The rate also only applies to the first 15 days per post, which means that any views accumulated after that will not earn the staff any extra money. So you know what they're going to do. I'm going to tell you right now what I think a company like this could possibly maybe do, or what somebody who maybe is not very scrupulous could possibly do. What they will do is wait until the 15-day window is up. They'll push you to write evergreen articles. Wait until that 15-day window is up, and then they'll promote those articles, because they don't have to pay you anything.
Well, that could be, but it seems to me if you want your views up, you're going to want time sensitive, newsy information. So I don't know if I agree with you on that one, but it makes sense. But I don't know if I agree with you on that one.
I'm just saying we'll see. So of course the real issue here is the per 1,000 sessions part. While the gamers upper management has tried to spin this as a way for strong performing content to earn extra money, it also means that should an article get fewer than 1,000 sessions, staff at the site will not be paid. And again, sessions are not page views, because a site like Kotaku should have absolutely no problem getting 1,000 page views per article just for breathing, right? Because of where they're at in the Google algorithm, where they were at before last week. We'll see where they're at now. 1,000 sessions is a lot harder.
Well, it's just basically so they get to keep all the money.
Yes. It gets worse when you take into account exactly how many of the gamers, writers, and editors are actually on permalance-style contracts. Kotaku spoke to Lex Luddy, who stated that almost everyone, from listicle writers to senior editors, is technically a freelancer at the gamer. So they probably only have like one or two editors like running the site, and everybody else is freelance. Mm-hmm. Therefore, they could be subject to the newly issued contracts. Almost everyone is a contract freelancer. One or two might be employees. Not all the editors received these contracts on Thursday, but was shared in Slack and discussed openly. And they confirmed to me that half the writers at the gamer are currently in open revolt with the site's upper management, while others are instead desperately trying to make contact with Valnet representatives in search of justification. Well, the justification is going to be Google just destroyed the internet.
Right. Your best bet is to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Flat
they said,
out.
Here, they're admitting it. They said a lot of games media written word sites are hemorrhaging hits right now, and that is a combined factor of Google SEO changes, which I understand hit the gamer quite hard. The prevalence of AI search engines and the fact that Google just this week announced it was shifting its search engine to an AI chatbot type interface, further decimating click-through rates. Yeah, I mean, it's over for a lot of these sites. I think what's going to happen, even with Valnet, is that they will probably take the handful of sites they have that might actually perform and promote them and fold the other sites into. That's why we're seeing all these sites collapse.
It's not even worth selling these sites anymore. It's not even worth selling them because they're not worth anything because Google just destroyed the entire internet.
Yeah, and this is what people don't understand. Like, they're all like, we're all going to unionize. And we've been telling you this for at least 3 or 4 years now, because we saw the writing on the wall. We're all going to unionize, and we're going to be full-time video game journalists, and we're going to all make $100,000 a year. I'm like, bitch, a lot of these websites probably don't make $100,000 a year, just full stop. A lot of these websites, honestly, anymore, are probably only making like dozens of thousands of dollars, if that. They're not making what they used to. This is why BuzzFeed got sold off dirt ass cheap. This is why one of the Murdochs came in, swooped up Vox, because Google destroyed the internet. All these, like they said, written text-based websites are fucking done. They're done. It's over. It's over. It's game over.
Google, everybody let Google take control of everything, and they just, and it's a matter of time, I think, until YouTube follows suit, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think that what we're seeing, and this is not to scare you people, right? But, we do pay attention to these things. We've been making a living in full or in part online for damn near 20 years. So we've seen pretty much everything. And a lot of the changes going on with YouTube right now were very similar to the early changes we saw with Google's search engine. And it is the same company. So just remember that. Like, they're going to look at it and be like, oh, yeah, look, if we just use AI for everything on YouTube, well, geez, we can pocket more money. Who needs pesky creators?
We'll just make profits.
Record profits.
So the rich who can afford to buy lots of stock will get richer, and everybody else will, be jobless and poor. And if you use, this is why I'm saying, people might want to consider other internets, search engines and things, but they got themselves, as the sole provider on Apple and all these other places too. So, yeah.
But this, we'll just wrap up here with Vox. It wasn't really worth a whole article, but people are in for a very rude awakening because only the people with money who are left standing are going to be in charge of the media. And this is why everybody's like, why is all the media flipping right wing all of a sudden? I'm like, because the right wingers have more money now. It said the deal with Vox, widely seen as a liberal leaning, represents a major move toward his own media empire for the 53-year-old youngest son of Rupert Murdoch, who himself owned New York Magazine from 76 to 91. So Rupert Murdoch did own New York Magazine. It comes less than a year after the Murdoch family reached a deal on control of the 95-year-old mogul's media empire after his death, ensuring no change in direction at Fox News, the most popular network for conservatives under Rupert Murdoch's chosen heir, Lachlan Murdoch. So that's his oldest son. But yeah, the Murdochs are buying up they're buying up everything because they've got the money to buy it, because everybody. So the difference between the more liberal leaning sites and the more conservative leaning sites is monetization strategies. I think a lot of the liberals are like, well, we'll subsidize it. We'll get some government money. We'll get some grant money. We'll get some venture capitalists. And on the other side of it, the conservatives are like, no, we have to charge people for subscriptions and charge for advertising and and they were more aggressive about monetizing. So now all these websites they don't have a backup. There is no backup. There's no backup plan. It's just they're run on advertising, which is going to dry up.
Which is owned by Google.
And nobody's going to pay for Kotaku. I'm sorry. Nobody's going to pay for Polygon. They're not going to.
They'll pay for them before they'll pay for the gamer, so.
That's true. Kotaku seems like they're trying to get it together. You can pay for CLOWNFISH TV, though, if you go out to more.clownfishtv.com. But this is the way things are going to go right now. It's going to be, you're going to have to basically, people are going to have to get used to paying for news again. But they're not going to pay for these websites because they are just clickbait forums.
CLOWNFISH TV, we're going to tell you what happens tomorrow today.
Pretty much.
Because that's what I mean. It's just knowing patterns. We've done
pattern
this for
recognition's
a long
all
time.
it
Well, you've
is.
done internet stuff longer than we've been married. And you were doing it before I was the teacher. You were doing it way before you even met me. So, it's been a long time.
I've been building websites. I was building websites in the 90s before anybody else was really building websites. And I was making ridiculous money in my early 20s. Like I was making like $20,000 in a weekend. It was real nice. And that money's not, that doesn't happen anymore. But we saw like everything just change in the last 2 years in regards to Google, and it's not going to get better. Mm-hmm. And if these big companies can't make it,
not unless someone steps in and breaks it up, and they're not going to.
They're not going to. They're not going to. I mean, what if the end results, like the Murdochs get control of everything? Well, yeah, they're going to be like, yeah, hey, that's pretty good, right?
Yeah, most of us just want everything to go back to center, but, I guess we said it's going to swing the other way first, and that's what's happening. So, yeah. Are we going to wrap this up?
We're going to wrap this up. So, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.